This program features live coverage of an African safari and may include animal kills and carcasses. Viewer discretion is advised.
This is why the Nkuhuma Pride is such a firm favourite.
It's Kinky Tail.
He just looks ready for a fight. This is still her territory.
The Evoker boys are here to stay.
Ooh. How insane was that?
Indeed, it's not a hyena. It's me. Welcome to the 41st episode of Safari Lives. And my name is indeed today Lorena, and I'm a wafflet. On camera, I have Bungina, and he's also a wafflet. So in case you cannot guess, the topic of today is going to surround hyenas, and it's more closely going to surround waffles, because it is indeed International Waffles Day. And okay, it's not really based around the hyena. It is based around the food that many of us eat for breakfast, but still, it's waffles. That is indeed what we're going to focus on. But do talk to us. Do send in your questions and comments using that hashtag SafariLive on YouTube or indeed Twitter. Now, before I go any further into my super interesting topic of today, let's take a look at what all our characters and where all our characters have been up to this week. It has been a very busy week in Djuma for spots, with sightings of many of our resident leopards. Tandy was found in the south, and towards the western boundary was Shadulu on the hunt. Tingana was patrolling one of his regular routes, not too far away from Tandy herself. The Nkuhuma Pride travelled south from Buffelshoek into Djuma. The Djuma clan den was active with many cubs to keep a watchful eye on, and the Investic pack made a special appearance at the southern fringes of Djuma. Scuba Steve and Snorkel Sarah continued to canoodle in Buffelshoek Dam. It wasn't just Djuma that kept us busy this week. We spent time with many of our lion prides, including the Owino Pride, the Olololo Pride, and the Sausage Tree Pride, all of them with cubs. Busara has been spotted almost daily this week as she took up residence not far from Kichwa Airstrip. The North Clan Den continues to amaze us with its abundance of energetic cubs. It has indeed been an absolutely incredible week in both Djuma and the Mara this past week. There's been so many amazing sightings, and this is what Safari Lives this week is going to show you exactly what has happened. So I've already revealed, in case you didn't already guess, that it is going to be about the North Clan, in particular waffles. So I'm slotted underneath the North Clan wall right now in my place in the clan, and what we're going to focus on is just one particular thing. Is the North Clan really that unusual and unique? Have they really had two matriarchs dethroned consecutively? What is special about the North Clan? The question that I'm going to focus on is, has the matriarch really been dethroned? And who is laughing now? Hope you like that. That is what we're going to look at, exactly what is going on with the North Clan. But before I get into it, there is other people who want to say hello. So let's go all the way down to South Africa to say hi to Rusty.
Good afternoon, and welcome to Safari Lives on episode 41. So we came out of our walk this morning and we found some interesting tracks that we were hoping to follow up in the afternoon, but it's been a very warm day here, extremely warm. And I've actually just started to sweat again, which is a bit uncomfortable. But we found the tracks of the Nkuhumas. Now, for those who are just joining us or don't know, they are the resident pride of lions that hang around the area. And last night, early this morning, they came through here. We walked over these tracks and Trishala was trying to follow up on them. So we are going to see if we can catch up to them in the next couple of hours. If you don't already know who I am, my name is Rusty, and behind the camera is Davy, and we'll be following up on this pride and seeing what else is around in the area at the moment. It is very warm, so we're not expecting much movement from a lot of animals. I would rather just stay in the shade for the rest of the afternoon. For some funny reason, I cannot control my sweating, which everyone seems to laugh at. But yes. Oh, yes, everything will be parked up in the shade now, most of what we are looking for. So we're going to head. So I'm going to hopefully have some luck later on as it cools down. We are going to let you go over to Trish and see what she's been going to be up to this afternoon.
Good afternoon, everybody. Yes, in fact, Rusty is 100% correct. So while I say good afternoon to you, I am also going to stop in the shade. How are you all? So happy to have you on the Safari Lives episode. And of course, I am Trishala, and I have Craig on camera with me. Yes, I do. So we are on the lookout for Shidulu, the lovely spotted termite mound. You say, why termite mound? Because that's exactly what her name means. So that's who I'm looking for today, especially. And of course, I've got the Juma clan to go to in the, late afternoon, early evening. So that should be exciting. So I'm super excited, and we are really, really, really hot at this moment. Like Rusty was saying, we're all looking for a bit of shade, and so are the animals. So I'm looking in the tops of the trees. The leopards sometimes hang out there when it's hot so they can catch some breeze. And now we're on the western boundary of Juma looking for Shidulu, and this is of course her territory. And the last few times I have seen her, it has been around this area, just almost to my right here in the tops of the trees. So Craig and I are keeping a keen eye out in the tops of the trees. Hopefully we'll find her. I really hope so. But we're at the end of the boundary now, and then we'll turn back up, and her boundary extends a little bit more to the east here. So we will go searching all around those areas. Let us start up again and get back into this heat. I'm sure Rusty mentioned to you it's about 37 degrees Celsius, which is just under 100 degrees Fahrenheit. That is hot, hot, hot. So let's see what Tristan has to say about this heat, and of course to say hello to you guys.
Indeed, Trishala, it is warm, hot, warm, and very uncomfortable in the sun, which is why we are in the shade of the Mulwati. Isn't that right, Sebastian?
Oh, my word, yes.
Oh, my word, yes, is what Sebastian has to say. Right, now let's formally introduce ourselves. My name is Tristan, as Trishala said, and on camera, as you can imagine and gather, is Sebastian. He's joining us this afternoon, and so hopefully we're going to have a nice afternoon. It is extremely warm, which means I don't think we're going to get too much activity for the first hour at this stage, but who knows, maybe we get lucky and things will appear and will sort of pop out for us and we'll be able to see something. We're on a bit of a different mission to Trish. We are in search of Tandi or Tingana or Klalamba, any of those three really. So we're on the eastern side of Juma. And we know that Tandi was seen this morning, and she was cruising around sort of Leadwood Mumba area, so we're going to go and kind of scratch around for her and see what's going on and see whether she's decided to kind of settle this afternoon and decide to kind of find a shady spot to be able to kind of rest up. So that's our plan for the afternoon, and also to try and not die of heat stroke. Anyway, in the meantime, let's send you back up to a cooler Masai Mara and Lauren, who is delving deeper into spots of a different kind.
Oh, please don't get heat stroke. And I indeed am trying my best not to itch my nose. It's very itchy, but I'm going to keep my nose intact for now, while we start with the basics of what is going to be a very complicated story. Who is who? Who is Waffles? Who is Soup? Let's take a look at the board I have created. Now, this whole board here is just the current mothers and cubs at the North Clan Den. I'm focusing on those hyenas that are very active at the den right now and those that have cubs. Let's start with Miss Waffles. She was indeed the matriarch for many, many years, and she currently has 2 cubs named Elovo and Grenadine. please don't ask about the names. They do stem from somewhere. So this is Waffles, and this is her 2 current young cubs who were born in July 2018, so they are indeed still very young. This is Soup. Soup is now the current matriarch of the North clan. She also has 2 young cubs, Lobby and Chow. Now, these are the 6 most important individuals that we will be talking about today. Waffles, Soup, Lobby, Chow, Ilovo and Grenadine. Before I forget, Waffles is indeed the grandmother of Soup. They are connected, okay? Waffles had a daughter called Log Cabin, who is sadly no longer with us, and Log Cabin gave birth to Soup. So indeed, Waffles is the grandmother of Soup. Waffles was the matriarch, but now it is Soup. What has happened? That's what we're going to explain. But first, let's take a little look at Waffles and Soup together in this lovely little clip. We don't actually often see them together, so let's take a look. This is Waffles, very easy to identify from that collar, which is indeed a radio collar that was placed there by the hyena research team. And this is Soup. So you can see them walking side by side. There's no aggression. There's no power of one exerting over the other. These 2 hyenas are indeed related. Very closely related. They're very, very familiar to one another, and you can see they're on patrol here and they're interacting with one another. First things first, what is the role of a matriarch in these spotted hyenas? There's many matriarchal societies in the animal kingdom, but within hyenas, what is the role? The main role is to create a stable environment, create stability and maintain social order, maintain the hierarchy and the clan dynamics. Now, elephants is a very different situation, but they also have a matriarch. And part of that matriarch's role is also to maintain social order. Let's think for a moment. If both spotted hyenas and elephants didn't have anybody in their herd or clan to maintain social order, can you imagine all of these animals running amok out in the wild? I think it would be quite a different environment from what we know today. So, within hyenas, social status is everything. It's who you are. Social status actually determines your access to resources, your survival, and your reproductive fitness. Social status will also be more important to your survival and your reproductive fitness than the likes of predators, pathogens, or even environmental factors. Social status is everything for a hyena. So, how did Waffles get to the top? Did she inherit her rank? Yes, she did. And it was low. Waffles was a low-ranking individual whose mother was also low-ranking. So how on earth did she get to where she is? Well, that's the question we're going to soon answer. But for now, let's go to Pat, who's not that far away from me where I am now.
G'day everyone, my name's Gary the Ground Hornbill and welcome to Safari Live's episode 41. Hey mate, hey, enough of that, I'm the presenter. Sorry, just had to get that Ground Hornbill into line. My name is Patrick, and as that one rudely said, this is Safari Live's episode 41. Joining me on camera is Manu, and if you have any questions or any comments throughout this program, please do send it in using that hashtag Safari Live or the YouTube chat stream. So, Gary and the other 2 hornbills, no, I don't actually know any of their names. This is just 3 ground hornbills that I have stumbled across down here nearby the Mara River. So they are quite a cool bird, a bit of a rare bird to see. They do have very restricted areas that they are in, but luckily we do see them up here in the Mara and also occasionally down in Juma. Now, it might look like they are grazing much like those Thompson's gazelle in the background, but they are in fact looking for invertebrates most likely to eat. They are generally carnivorous birds, and although will in dire circumstances go after carrion, they will mostly be hunting for themselves, and as I said, mostly insects and invertebrates. We have quite a large herd of impala here in front of me as well. It's just kind of walking through. It almost looks like they are one giant animal. They're so merged together. Very nice. See a few calves in amongst this group as well. Emma's saying lion bait. Well, yes, hopefully that is why I am down this way. So I was literally in this exact same spot I was in a couple of days ago, and there were a mating pair of lions. One of them was a Kichwa male by the name of Fang, and the female was unknown. But I have come down here just to see if they are around, and we can see by this large herd of relaxed impala that they are obviously not where I last left them. So I'm just going to push in a little bit deeper now and see if I can pick back up on them. Well, seems like we all want a little bit of action, some caction this afternoon. Trishala down in South Africa is also looking for cats.
Yes, I am also looking for cats, and I would also love to find a kitty cub. That would be awesome. I've seen Shidulu without cub last time, so I'm really hoping that cub, if we do find her, the cub will be around too. Well, cubs, there's 2 of them, but I've only managed to see 1, so how exciting if we get to see 2. I'd be super, super excited. I mean, I'd be really excited just to see Shidulu. So we're just looking around, driving nice and slowly. But you can see how thick the bush is. I mean, she could be lying down anywhere and I wouldn't know. That's why I need to keep a look on the road for tracks, keep a look in the air, well, in the trees, so that she can catch some air, and of course check the tops of termite mounds, because that's what she likes to do. In fact, let me show you exactly how. Just in case there was any confusion as to her naming, Shidulu provided us with a picturesque pose atop her namesake, a termite mound. With her cubs safely stashed away, she elegantly moved through the thickets in search of a meal for her growing family. The effectiveness of her rosetted camouflage, unmistakable. She really is a beautiful cat and quite a poser, don't you think? I think she's quite a poser. She's beautiful, and you saw the way that she was totally camouflaged with those rosettes, and she must have been about 3 meters from us when we had a sight of her, and she was still totally camouflaged. Very nice. I think if I had a coat like that, nobody would find me. But then again, I'm not a leopard, am I? Well, we're also talking about hyena today, so Lauren's on the case of the hyenas, so I will do my yes, I would camouflage very well. I do have leopard print tights, so it could work. It could work. I think, at least. Well, like I said, we're talking about hyenas too, so it's going to be a nice discussion, nice way to kind of tie in the Nort clan and our Juma clan and the way that the workings are slightly different. So I look forward to talking to you about all of that later too. I'm sorry, I just thought I saw something in the tree. Let me just reverse a little bit, Craig. Oh, how nice. I get to reverse into a spot of shade as well. It was just on that big tree, quite far away from us. I saw sort of a bulbous something. Can you see that one across there? Ah, no, I don't see anything. Yeah, that's a one. Ah, when you're looking forward to finding something, your eyes see all sorts of things. Snazzy, you'd like to know if on hot days leopards would avoid termite mounds? Well, that's exactly what I thought, based on the fact that they're hot, they're producing heat, and that they stick up off the ground, so they're going to be absorbing heat. But that's not to say that they won't sit on it, because I have seen leopards sit on termite mounds in the heat, but they tend to sit on the side that's shaded, which makes sense because that side would now be cooler. So it definitely can happen, Snazzy, so we're going to have to look still. I think so. And it's her namesake, so she might just, knowing that it's SafariLive, she might just, you know, show us exactly why her name is Shidulu. I think it's a very pretty name. There's not even a little bit of a breeze. Now that we're driving, there's a bit of a breeze, but when we're standing still, it is sweltering. Well, speaking of female leopards, Thandi gave me the slip this morning in some really rough bush. So let's see if Tristan can relocate her.
I am, but we've gotten a bit waylaid, unfortunately. Thandi hasn't appeared at this stage of the game, so we got our attention got pulled by this beautiful saddle-billed stork that is seemingly doing very little. I was hoping that it was going to be fishing in this little pan that's off Gowrie Main in Little Gowrie. I hoped that it was going to be going after various little frogs, and sometimes they go after fish and terrapins as well. But it seems to be just standing there with its beak open, being pelted by the sun, much like we are in many, many ways. Now you can see it's got the bright yellow eye, which means that it is a girl. And the male will have a dark eye with little yellow wattles, and I don't see him anywhere nearby. You'll also notice that she's holding her beak open. Now, the reason she's doing that is just like a cat panting. So we've obviously seen many different cats in this area, and when they're hot, they pant and they open their mouth, and you see their tongue moving back and forward. So this is a bird's version of that, and it also does the exact same thing. It helps with regulating temperature, and it's called gular flutter. And so they'll just rapidly breathe with their beaks open, and just to try and get rid of all that excess heat that they're getting. And especially a big bird like this that has got massive kind of dark neck and feathers, it gets very, very warm very quickly. Oh, there we go. It's decided to go and have a little bit of a walk around and see if it can find food. Maybe it's going to grab a little frog. And always wait for them to kind of pop their heads up. Sometimes you'll get a frog in the kind of getting tossed into the air and being grabbed. Right, now we're going to carry on though. We're going to go see what else we can find. And in the meantime, well, actually, we're not going to carry on from here just yet. We're going to kind of move a little bit, but in the meantime, let's go and have a look at what Thandi was up to earlier in the week.
The Queen of Djuma made her way through the thickets, seemingly set out with a mission for the morning. As she continued on, she soon resigned herself to a casual wander, stopping in the shelter of the leafy canopies overhead for the occasional scratch. However, Thandi is not one to take it too easy, and she put her nimble leopard skills to good use, finding a vantage point to scope out the surroundings.
Well, wouldn't it be nice if Thandi decided to go up onto a stump like that and show herself off this afternoon? I highly doubt that's going to be the case, though, because it is so hot that I'm pretty sure she's going to find herself some shade and kind of sit there rather than being up and moving around. Maybe a little bit later. Excuse me, we're trying to do a TV show here. Very rude. There's a plane that is flying over. Anyway, we're going to try and see if we can find her. We're going to go check where they lost her this morning and see if she's around. In the meantime, though, let's send you off to Rusty and see if he's had any more luck than what we've had.
Well, we're still not having much luck with them, but with following up on the tracks of those iguanas, the pride of lions that came through here last night. We are doing a big circle around just to see if maybe they split off. I've got a funny feeling they did cross over our boundary into our neighboring property where we cannot follow them. But I'm pretty sure they didn't get very far and have parked up in the shade somewhere. But I'm sure in the next, hopefully tonight, they'll be back or tomorrow. But I'm not giving up hope yet. They might just do a complete 360 and come back through, or 180 and come back through here later on this evening. Now, as much as I complain about the heat, it is disappearing. In the next month or so, you'll hear me complaining about how cold it is. So, yes, we will find out just how this weather will affect the animals. But I know it'll get less grass, which at least... I didn't quite capture that, but I'm guessing it was... the lions are not moving around because of the heat. That is 100% correct, if that was the question coming through. This heat will put the lions do not move around because of the heat. They will be in the shade at this time of day. But it's also, they are on the hunt in the last few days. We've been watching them actually every time when they come through the property, we seem to capture or locate them, and then they move off again, always on the hunt. They never settle for longer than a day or 2 days in this area. They just, I don't know if it's down to because their main food source is the larger game, especially for a pride that size. So buffalo is probably their main target right now, and they just seem to be few and far between. With so much grass and water everywhere, a lot of the game has spread out, especially the buffalo. You see the odd old bull walking around or settle down at some pan, but the lions have not found them yet. But we won't never say never. They will be back, and I hope that this evening might allow us to view them wherever they may be. But as far as we know, they came down here last night and crossed over and headed down our boundary. Okay, well, while we follow these tracks, I'm pretty sure they go across to the other property. I'm going to send you back over to Lauren in the Mara. I have to be gentle.
Talking of lions, I am actually right next to the lion board here by pure coincidence, and I became very attached to this stick. Thank you, Bungee Cord. He found it for me. Now, I just want to show you exactly where the North Clan Den is. This is our camp with the lovely vehicles here that we drive on a daily basis, and indeed we will come down the escarpment all the way along, and the hyena North Clan Den is here. There is other dens, of course, for other clans, but this is where the North Clan Den is found. So, going back to Waffles and her den, I'm going to show you a little clip now, which just emphasises how spectacular Waffles really is. It's going to show you her as matriarch in her prime, interacting with many different individuals in the clan, high rankers and low rankers. Now, why is this special? Generally, high rankers tend to only associate with high rankers and low rankers only with low rankers. Now, I say generally because there's always exceptions to the rule. Here's one of them. Waffles is indeed an exception. So let's just take a look at this lovely clip. And in Scotland, we would say she's no bonny lass. She's not the most beautiful hyena. But she's amazing. And look at her interacting with everyone. So I'm just going to pause it here to show that was a lovely interaction of all... Oh, Vicky's asking what behavioural changes take place when a matriarch is overthrown. So let me just get to that question. That is indeed where I'm headed. So if Waffles is indeed a low ranker, how on earth did she make it to the top? The answer is simple. I'm about to reveal it now. She did indeed form a coalition. She formed a girls' army with two other low rankers called Peepers and Eleanor, who are sadly no longer with us. But the three of them challenged the status quo, challenged the established pecking order, and went straight up the proverbial ladder right up to the top, where Waffles remains almost to this day. And that's how she did it. So hyenas will have this innate drive to challenge that and better their social status. That is indeed what it's all about. So behavioural changes that you would see would indeed be the difference between being dominant and being submissive. But it's not so easy to stay at this point. Waffles indeed climbed up that ladder and changed the whole system, changed the whole hierarchy, and overthrew a matriarch called RBC. Now, that matriarch indeed is no longer with us. And it's not sure, did Waffles kill her or did Waffles just chase her away? So in answer to your question, it's very, very complicated. There will be a lot of behavioural changes, but I'm going to focus on Soup and Waffles. So let's just take another look at the rest of this clip, just to see some other interactions between all these wonderful hyenas. Waffles scent marking, Waffles having a sniff, Waffles being with low rankers, high rankers, just generally being a really dominant hyena. Now, the question remains, given that rank has a large effect on fitness of these hyenas, which we've obviously already established, what actually maintains the stability of a system where rank is determined in such an arbitrary manner? That is the question that remains on all of our lips. And of course, the answer is strong alliances. Look at her go. She's got alliances all throughout the clan. And believe it or not, one of Waffle's best friends was called LCS. And she was the lowest ranking individual out of the entire clan. And that was Waffle's best friend. So when she was matriarch, she still spent all her time with LCS. Is this because she remembers that she was indeed a low ranker? Who knows? But she associated with everyone in this clan, which is what makes her unique as she is. She formed strong bonds, strong social bonds, and made that climb right up to the top, which is why Waffles is indeed so unique. So what has happened? Soup is now the matriarch. How did that happen? Well, indeed, Waffles is 13 years old, we think. And that is the sort of general lifespan of a hyena. Let's go back over here. You will read that a hyena can live to about 20, 22 years old. But I think this is based in captivity. The average age for the hyenas here is indeed between 13 to 15. Waffles is almost there, as sad as it is. Touch wood, she's going to live for a lot longer. So, going back to these 6 most important people that we're going to talk about, Soup, being Waffles' granddaughter, would indeed be the natural progression of Waffles' lineage. Waffles was the matriarch, but she's getting old. We can't confirm this, but she might be getting weaker, she might be getting slower. She's reaching a very old age and she's had a very successful reign. So, has Waffles been dethroned? Or was it a takeover? Was it a handover? And that is the thing that we need to think about. The matriarchal crown has indeed gone to her granddaughter, not a stranger, not anybody else. It was indeed to Soup, her very own bloodline. So while you all contemplate that, we're still going to go deeper. We're going to send you back down to South Africa and see what Trishala is up to.
Interesting discussions happening up there in the Masai Mara. I think that this guy is equally as interesting. You may not, but I do. So we have a wonderful warthog here. And why did I stop for this warthog when I'm on the quest for Shidulu? Because Shidulu and the little Hukudulus, as you know, the little cubs, were possibly sired by Hukumuri. And we know that Hukumuri particularly likes warthogs, and this is his territory. So sometimes it's good to just sit and watch, because you never know if he may be around, or even if Shidulu is around. Maybe she learned a thing or two from the hook. Yeah. Naroko, you'd like to know if the cubs are still alive, Shidulu's cubs, and if I've seen all of them. Well, from what I know, nobody has said that they're not alive, and there have been sightings of them, but all the way to the west, far more west than we can go or even see. So they are alive as far as we know, but I have only seen the one. That being said, when I did see the one, she was still calling. And that led me to believe, obviously, that there must be another that she's calling for, although she wouldn't be calling for it, would she? And then she jumped down off the tree and she went off, almost to look like she, or almost looked as if she was going in search of her other little cub. Now, leopards and lions, they stash their cubs away in a safe place while they go out hunting. Having a cub around is really sort of a liability. When you're hunting, it can weigh you down. I suppose it's a lot like when you take your 2-year-old to the mall with you and you don't get much done. I like to liken it to that, because firstly you have to look out for their safety, and then they're particularly vulnerable. I mean, like with most children or most babies, they're particularly vulnerable, and they could easily be taken. And then also they're slower than you are. They may spoil your hunt, all sorts of things like that. So she hasn't taken them on any types of hunts with her. Last time that I did see her, she looked like she was hunting and they weren't with her. So she would have stashed them away somewhere safe. And yeah, they They must be somewhere. I haven't seen them, like I said, at least not in the last week, but in the last time I did see them, it was only the one. And remember, they're still small. They're only about 3 months, if not a little younger. I think it was December of this year that they were born. Oh, December last year, Jan this year, that they were born. It's always hard to tell because we can never actually see them born. Well, Warthog, I hope that either you avoid the hook if you can, but if you can, lead me to Shidulu. In the meantime, I'm still on the lookout for her. Let's go over to Patrick in the Masai Mara.
Yes, still searching. No signs of that mating pair anywhere. They did look to be kind of, well, the one mating event I saw between the two, it was very half-hearted. They both looked out of energy, so perhaps it was towards the end of their days of mating together. But either way, no sign of lions down here, so I am just, I was hoping to be searching for the Owinos today, but just unfortunately, the deeper I go into their territory at the moment, the more chance we have of experiencing some gremlins, and I do not want that tonight. So I'm looking at a different spot, seeing if I can pick back up on the mating pair or the Olololos, perhaps the Kichwa males, or that pride that may be the marsh breakaways, it may be the marsh pride. I don't really know. No one seems to really know. Yeah, so I'll just see if there's any lions pretty much down around this area. I did, however, check that giraffe kill, and they had moved off. I mean, the lions got a drink. I wasn't really expecting them to be there. But anyway, it was good to see them finally get a kill, because last week there was a couple of missed attempts at getting some buffalo. Here is one of them.
4 lionesses and 1 sub-adult male make up the impressive hunting unit that is the Owino Pride. The Pride is consistently refining and expanding their hunting tactics, and on this day set their eyes on a pair of Duggar male buffalo, away from any herd and grazing without a clue of the Pride's presence. Camouflaged by the long grass, the lionesses stalked the buffaloes, closing in on them from all directions. They drew closer to the buffaloes, and with a few more metres to go, the chase was on. At this point, the Pride seemed to be having the upper hand. However, an unexpected charge by the buffalo brought the lioness to an instant halt as he rallied away from danger. A united front was the only play the buffaloes had, and by sticking together, they had escaped unscathed.
Well, it's a little bit easier to watch those clips now, knowing that they have very, very full stomachs and are looking quite healthy at the moment, which is great. It's also great to see that they are capable of taking down a giraffe for themselves. So, very nice stuff for the Owinos. The kind of bad side to things, though, is there is still no sign of the cubs. So if anyone was watching on the other night when we followed Butternut, who was limping quite badly, she did poke her head into this drain and started contact calling, and we heard a response. It sounded like a cub, but we stayed around and just couldn't find anything, and she did end up moving on from the drain and continuing to contact call. So that only kind of makes the mystery even harder to solve. Been trying for over a week now to piece together what has happened to the cubs, but just, yeah, it's starting to lose a bit of hope. But not to worry, the rest of the Pride is in good health. There are other males in the area, so we will keep a close eye. Everyone else watching along is also saying that they are worried about the cubs and interested. Yes,
It's a bit kind of touch and go with it at the moment, but every chance I do get to have a look around and try and piece together this puzzle, I will do it. Seanak, there was most definitely black-backed jackals at the giraffe kill, but there wasn't any vultures. I saw one white-backed vulture come in very briefly, and that was about it. So for the vultures, not really. There was heaps of hyenas and heaps of black-backed jackals. And it was actually just great to kind of spend a day at the carcass, just watching the lions constantly defending their kill, seeing some of the scavengers come away successful, but the Owinos did quite a great job. Just about every attempted scavenge was blocked off by one of them, mostly Lychee. Lychee was very good in defending that carcass, managed to keep off a number of hyenas and a number of jackals. But then there were those sneaky few hyenas and jackals that managed to get themselves quite a nice feed. Alrighty, well, I shall continue my hunt for these lions as we approach a big herd of elephants up there. But let's go back down to Trishala and see how her hunt is going along.
I spotted a gremlin. No, I didn't. I just heard that Pat is having some gremlin issues, unfortunately. I have been lucky so far with those pesky gremlins. Haven't had too much of an issue with them, luckily. Still on my search for Shadulu and looking for some tracks. I did come across some lion tracks, but they seem to be the ones from this morning, and they have crossed out north out of our little reserve. That would have also been lovely. Oh, can you see some shade has been cast onto us as the cloud moved across the sun? Thank goodness. Lovely. So I am in the area that Rusty was sort of walking through this morning on bushwalk. Seanak, what an interesting question. Can you determine a leopard's age by its rosettes? I have no idea. I really have no idea, but that would be very, very interesting. A lot of these things, you can come up with these ideas, and scientists will call it a hypothesis, and you'll actually be able to conduct this research. And a lot of people probably haven't even thought of conducting such research. So maybe, Seanak, you should do that. You have a gallery of oh, hello, Mrs. Kudu. You have a gallery of photographs from SafariLive. I'm sure screenshots of all leopards growing up. Of course, you'd be able to tell a cub from an adult because the rosettes are close together and they're not as spaced out. But whether the pattern would indicate differences in age, I really don't know. It's actually amazing how limited research can be when it comes to mammals that are not ourselves. When it comes to ourselves, we have so much research done on us, and there's so much research actually done on kind of more mammal chemistry, you know, because we share so many chemical characteristics. But when it comes to behavior, not so much. So, something to think about. Now, I'm so sorry, but I didn't quite hear what Emma said, but I know that there's something exciting for you waiting with somebody else, so let me send you over there.
Ah, very cool stuff we have stumbled upon here. We have a couple of adolescent elephants having a bit of a sparring match here. So this is definitely nothing serious, just a little bit of a play between the two, a little bit of practice. And just, I mean, there will be some sort of seriousness to us. They're obviously both trying to win, both show dominance. It looks like the one on the left is the one doing that at this moment. So we just stumbled across this site here. It's a quite large herd of elephants that we have come across. And these two stood out like a broken thumb amongst all of the lazier, well, not so much lazier, but the less agile or less moving animals or elephants. And so what a cool sight to watch. Now we can actually hear the clashing of the tusks from where I'm sitting, so I'll see if we can pick up on that right now. No tusk clashing now. They are back to front to one another. Luna says, wow. Yes, it is a bit of a wow moment, isn't it? Seeing two big animals. I mean, they're not big by elephant standards, but compared to a human, they're quite big. Just to see them moving with such effort and such speed and, you know, really clashing horns, it's quite cool. The one on the left just doesn't want to let up. Snazzy, it's definitely play. It's not anything too serious. Just a couple of young'uns. And so one actually just ate a little bit of grass in between, refueling, restocking those energy banks. People are wondering whether we have elephant characters in the Mara like we do down in Juma. I don't actually know of any. I think we have one Fang. I can't remember whether Fang is here in the Mara or down in Juma, but that one is missing a tusk, a tusk called Fang. Oh, look at these two go. But yes, Daryl is a... Okay, so yeah, so we have Fang. So whilst this is playful now, older male elephants will fight, occasionally even to death. It will be quite serious, especially when it comes to females. And this is why a number of mammals, or a number of animals in general, will fight when they are younger, or play fight when they're younger. It's just to train everything, their muscles, their senses, their movements, much like when, well, just, you know, training for a martial arts and then sparring, and then eventually one day you get to the real fight. And at the moment, these guys are just in the gym, so to speak. Still plenty of action though. It's quite cool to watch. I myself do a form of martial arts called Muay Thai, and I have no sparring gear or sparring partners up here, so it is nice to see a little bit of action around, a little bit of fighting. Alrighty, well, my partner in crime, Lauren, is also here in the Mara, but not where I am at all. She's up in the studio and wants to talk to you all about some hyenas.
Always chatting hyenas. And I did see a comment from Tiermot that says, I am the only vegan member of the North Clan, and it made me laugh so much. Indeed, I am. I didn't think of that. Wonder how I'll survive North Clan out there. So, decision with the mystery that is the North Clan. We've got so Waffles got to where she is today by forming a strong coalition with a girl army.
Well, it looks like they are starting to mellow out a bit now and have gone back to grazing. I think that one on the left that was persisting has let up a bit now. But now that they have stopped, we can just have a look at how many Ellies are around me right now. So this isn't even the entire group. I'm not going to call them a herd because they have it split off now. But this is one section of the herd that we did have, and then over to my left, walking off in the opposite direction now, we have quite another large herd, or another quite large herd, should I say.
Nice scenes indeed. Love my alleys. Oh, looks like this one's taking on another one now. Yeah, fiery little man. So we can just see it approaching a slightly bigger one now. Yeah. Oh wait, is it another? Oh no, yeah, there's that one. But the other one is retreating quickly. So this one must be the fiery one of the bunch. Ooh, this looks more like affection then. No, it's definitely not. So that trunk over the head can sometimes be a dominant position. I'm glad everyone's really enjoying catching up with these elephants. Definitely wasn't my plan for tonight, but that is the beauty of the Masai Mara. Even if you're not finding what you're looking for, there's always something else cool going on somewhere, and it's just a matter of driving a little bit to find it. And yeah, so if you asked me if I was going to see fighting elephants tonight, I wouldn't have said yes, and it's a pleasant, pleasant surprise. This one just causing all the mischief right now. Oh, and there's a little one. In comes little Bubs. He's saying, "Stop the violence. Why are we fighting?" Oh, what a little cutie. All right, so we do apologise for those gremlins with Lauren. We're going to give it another try now. Hopefully things are fixed. Hello, Mrs. Hyena. Okay, sorry, we are still having gremlins there. So we will stay with these elephants for a bit more longer. So nothing wrong with that. As much as I'm sure you're learning a heap from Lauren about the North Clan. She has been very invested with those hyenas and knows them quite intimately now, and I'm sure she has a lot to say. These ones don't have much to say, but actions speak 1,000 words sometimes. And these words are a bit of fun. A little bit of fun, maybe a little bit of seriousness. We can see the one on the right starting to stream a little bit from the temporal gland. Means it might be a little bit stressed out by this attack. This one on the left is a bit of a bully now. Still squaring up. All right, well, this sighting was a nice surprise. I believe Rusty wants to chat to you all about another surprise sighting that he had during the week.
Yes, it was a very big surprise. And yes, I just had a bit of deja vu there for a whole 5 minutes as we were just coming past an area where we actually saw the Investec wild dog pack just the other day. And they were just very relaxed, which was actually very surprising to see. And they were just lying on the road. And we thought, like, okay, they were part of that ran past and we're like, okay, something's going to happen. But nope, they were very keen to find shade and tuck away. It is the first time I'd seen that pack, and it was, yeah, it was very exciting to see. It's been so long since, it's big spaces of time between when I see wild dog. So seeing the pack up close and just having it mostly to myself, it was just a very unique experience. We don't know where they went after that. They just disappeared off the radar, as most of the wild dogs do. They just decided to up leg and go. They were there most of the day. I think Trishala went off. Trishala went out that afternoon, spotted up on them, and by then they had moved off. So I'll let you go over and see what they've been up to. The Investec Breakaway Pack made a visit to Djuma this week. One of the resident female hyenas, identified as Heart, kept a watchful eye over them, hoping for some easy pickings. The dogs showed no interest in doing much and took to lounging about and catching up on some much-needed rest. As the morning sun rose higher, the pack did as many other predators do during the heat of the day and took to the shade to recharge before continuing on the hunt. Oh, they were definitely a sight for sore eyes, those dogs. I spent quite a bit of time with them, and that hyena in the background, I don't know if you can see the head pop up, but that was hard. There was another young male hyena hanging around the area, which we would believe was Comet, but no, we did not capture him on film. But yes, Hart and Comet were in the area. That was a good ID from one of the viewers who put it through. We had a bit of a sighting earlier, but we weren't too sure what it is, and we thought it might be one of the wild dogs. I'm not going to jinx it, but we are just looping around to see and following up to see if we find any tracks. We just saw this bounding motion through the grass and like black tips of ears, which could be, could not be. But they came in through this direction, or the one animal we saw. It was all in the corner of our eyes. So yeah, we're just doing a loop around to see if we have any luck with them. So hoping for that. Yeah, while we do that, I'm going to send you back to Lauren.
Just checking. There we go. All is good. So where were we? The hyena clan dynamics, of course. So hyena clans are a little bit different from other social animals. Now, there's many different species out there that have complex social societies, but indeed, hyenas are a little bit different. So let's take a look at social mammals. In general, the sort of hierarchy would indeed be the strongest, the heaviest, the biggest, those that are best at fighting tend to be at the top. The lower ranking individuals would be at the bottom, and they really would never have a chance to climb up because they're smaller, they're weaker, whatever. They're never going to reach the top. Hyenas are different. They operate on a clan that is based on maternal rank inheritance. Now, before I show you this awesome clip of both Waffles and Soup, I just want to explain what that means. Now, there was theories exactly where the rank inheritance comes from in social mammals. The first theory was thought to be genetics. Of course, mother passes the strong genetics of being the matriarch, being dominant to her offspring. The second was thought to come from the fact that the mother is dominant, she is the matriarch, so the offspring in the womb will, of course, be exposed to higher levels of androgens or potentially any other hormones. Hyenas, this is not the case. It is literally a silver spoon effect. And you get it from your mother because you observe their mother. So maternal rank inheritance, that is what is found in hyenas, is purely based on the young cubs watching and observing their mother. Whatever their mother is doing is what they will do. If their mother is acting submissively, they will act submissively. If their mother is acting dominant to certain individuals, maybe not others, the cubs will follow suit. And that's exactly how it works in hyenas. So indeed, I've just made it a little bit simpler. Excuse my terrible handwriting. I have just set out the family tree. Waffles at the top, and then indeed it was Log Cabin, who sadly passed, and of course Soup. So take a look at this. This is a clear, linear, natural progression. For Soup to get the crown, which she indeed has now, this was the natural pathway which was bound to happen. So let's just take a look at this wonderful clip of the two of them, Waffles and Soup, completely interacting with one another, having a lovely time at the den, where all the cubs are present. This was obviously taken last year. And you can see Waffles is definitely acting dominant. Soup submissive at this point. However, they're doing the hyena thing of greeting one another, having a social sniff. Waffles is anal pasting, doing some scent marking. But general, this is a really endearing moment. You can see that these two individuals are close. They're having a sniff, a lick, really, really inspecting one another, I guess. And this is where you can see they're related. There is absolutely no enemies here. How long is Waffles the matriarch, or was Waffles the matriarch? Lauren is asking. Now, that is a really good question. We're not entirely sure when this happened, the takeover, but I believe it has been quite a long length of time. Waffles is 13, and I think she took over when she was about 5, 6. So it has been a really long length of time that Waffles has indeed climbed up this proverbial ladder right to the top to get to where she is now. So she inherited her rank from her mother, which was low, by observing her mother's behaviour, and then somehow formed this coalition, formed this army, and the three of them set out with the great intent to take over and overthrow the matriarch that was in place at that time. And she was successful. Now, that doesn't happen often. So the question still remains, takeover or handover? Now, I think indeed it was a handover. There was very little aggression between Soup and Waffles, as you can see in this clip here. Now, this is before the handover happened, but you can see they're close. There may have been a bit of snarling and someone was a bit disgruntled with the other person, but generally, it was a very easy takeover because Waffles handed it over. She handed it over to her granddaughter. Natural progression of kin selection. It was a natural pathway for it to go. Even if Waffles had passed away, which she hasn't, she's still alive and well, that would indeed be how it would go. Soup would naturally take over anyway. So that has answered a lot of questions, a lot of mysteries into the North Clan. They can form strong coalitions. They can take over the matriarch that is in place, even if they're smaller, even if they're weaker. If I was an honorary member, what would my name be? Tom. Lorena, of course. I think that's pretty unique and pretty individual. I'm one of the Wafflets. I'm on Waffle's side. I want to be part of her lineage, and I think my name would be Lorena. So even although my ensemble does resemble probably more of Minnie Mouse than it does an actual hyena, I have tried. I have tried my best to fit into the clan, a very famous clan that is known all over the world for this reason, for what Waffles did. What Soup has done is just natural progression. She has taken over, but it's all natural. But what Waffles did was absolutely extremely incredible, and that is why the North Clan is amazing and will always be amazing. So I'm glad we're getting there and unraveling the mysteries of the North Clan. But for now, let's head over to Pat and see what he's up to.
Well, I did have a bit of a roadblock to contend with right here, so I have stopped again. We made it a little bit up from those sparring elephants and are now with, well, more elephants. Looks like we have a little bit of affection between these two here. Oh, isn't that sweet? Very nice between these two little youngsters. So, the youngsters would have really, oh, that wasn't quite so nice. They would have had a bit of a harder time dealing with the heat, seems as they have a smaller body size, and therefore would have heated up a lot quicker in the equinox last week. An equinox being when the equator lines up with the centre of the sun. And so as we are on the equator here in Kenya, it did warm things up quite a bit. Thankfully, we had a bit of a cool breeze on one of the days, or on the last day, the worst day, to offset things a bit. But yeah, we definitely did feel it. These elephants felt it. And, well, we caught up with the Olololo Pride last week, and they definitely felt it as well.
Lying on the equator, Kenya experiences biannual equinoxes, and it was that time of year in the Mara Triangle. During this time, the temperatures are at an all-time high, and no one is spared from the soaring heat, including the members of the Olololo Pride. Navigating their territory, the Olololo Pride lazily walked the grassland, stopping and waiting on their pride mates as they searched for a place to cool down. Despite being close to the Mara River, they decided against braving the water and searched around the shade of the thickets for an ideal resting spot. Content and carefree, they spread out their bodies to better rid themselves of all that heat. Yes, well, that clip was actually exactly where I was looking at just before for those mating lions and for the Ulululu Pride. Unfortunately, it came up empty-handed, but it is a good spot to check, I've found. They are hanging around there quite a bit over the last couple of weeks. So, yeah, still with these elephants, and we had a little bit of dust bathing there. This one here, very nice. Throwing some dust over its back, helped to cool itself off, something we often see elephants do. Well, from these elephants, let's go to a mammal, still a mammal, but something a lot smaller and something a bit younger than the one we are looking at right now.
At the wonderful Juma clan den, and I have found this little youngster right here. Hello? Do you smell something? Can you see the air? The nose is up in the air. Trying to smell something. Hello? You're just the cutest thing. Now, these are June's cubs. I say these because there was a second head that popped up from the den entrance, but it's gone in and now. And when I drove up, the two of them were lying there almost waiting for me. I think they missed me. I didn't come to see them in a while. Ooh, it seems like Rusty has found something cool. So let's go over to Rusty quickly, and I will be here waiting for you again.
Well, this was an interesting surprise. I don't know. I think it's Tanama, but I'm not 100% sure. I've just got all excited, and it just walked out in front of us on the road. We were like, whoa, go do something. I don't think it's Tanama. It actually looked like an older female. So if anyone can ID this for me quickly offhand before I look at my ID kit, it'll be brilliant to know. It's actually very unusual. It's still very, very warm. But we are going to stick with her and see where she ends up. Now, we're hoping she's going to stay on the road. It may make it easier, but if she does go off... Lorena, what a little face. I couldn't agree more. She is absolutely... Oh, leopards... Oh, it gets my hair on the end. And it's just happened to come to us, so... It could be. I haven't checked my ID, but if it is Shidulu, I'll be happy to... Yeah. It is very unusual. She is panting quite heavily, so I hope she wasn't disturbed by something. 100%. Thank you very much, Crystal. 100% Shidulu. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So, yes, we have Shidulu here. It's one of our resident females that hangs around in the area. She's got a territory that borders or covers a part of Juma. And was she seen this morning? I can't remember. Yeah, I'm not sure. This is the first time I've seen her, and I know she was seen in the last few days, but it was very unusual to see her at this time of the day just walking down the road. We were like, impala, that's a very unusual impala at this distance. And then as we came closer, I checked with my binos, and of course I went into like a mad flurry and sped up and caught up with her. I'm not too sure. She is a bit skinny around the edges, but she is... Maybe she's hungry and on the move early, or she's been disturbed by another male. She might be coming to season and just moving off just to find a cooler place to park off for the day, for the rest of the evening. You see, you can definitely see that she's panting quite a bit. So if she does park off in the shade, we will stay with her and see what she does. She still is very exposed. She's not too sure what to do, and neither am I. So we're just going to wait here patiently. Yep. She's decided to turn around and go back past us. Wow. That's close. That's really close. Mechanics, I couldn't agree more. She is stunning, but I've never seen ugly leopard, let's put it that way. So she's gone back onto our cut line. Just to see if she stays on it. That was very close. Yeah, she's on a mission, and it's very unusual for this, like I said, for this time of the day. It's very warm. We have got a bit of cloud cover, so that's probably what she's using to get away maybe from a male that's been hovering around. But yeah, she's just gently heading up the road. So we're going to just slowly but surely just follow her from behind and see what she does. I don't want to interfere too much or push her too much. Now that very obvious white tip of the tail is sometimes the biggest giveaway of when, especially in thick bush like this, it just happens if they flick their tail like, whoa, there she is, or he is. She stops, we stop. She is listening to everything. So maybe she is on the hunt. The tip of the tail moving. Yep. Oh, yeah, she's definitely focused in, so I'm pretty sure she's on the hunt. So she hasn't seen anything now. Right now she's just listening. We will hopefully see. We'll just freewheel down here. This is such an amazing. This made my afternoon, my whole day. I mean, the walk this morning I really enjoyed, but seeing a leopard or just bumping into a leopard like this. Oh, very lucky. And we just passed a vehicle about 2 seconds before we saw her. And I wonder if they're even, I don't know, she might have just been like 2 meters off the road, and if she is coming through the grass, this amount of grass on the side of the road, you won't see her. You'll just drive straight past her. Okay. I'm going to stay with her, and hopefully we'll get back to you later. We're going to send you back over to Trish and the hyena cubs.
Well, I would be a lot more jealous if it weren't for the fact that I have these 2 cubs out. But well done, Rusty, on finding Shidulu. She's always entertaining, so I hope he has some fun with her, and maybe those little cubs will come out. So exciting things ahead. Now, these 2 cubs that I have here seem to be a little bit tired. They look as if they've just woken up from a nap and decided to mull around the hyena den. I'm hoping they'll bring their friends out. Like I said, both of these are June's cubs. And we also have Ribbon's 2 cubs here. And Ribbon's 2 cubs look a lot younger. They look like they're just maybe about 4 or 5 weeks or so, and they're fully black, so I hope that they emerge as well at some point. But these 2 youngsters, I'm quite proud of them. They're venturing quite far out these days. I remember when I first saw them around the den area, they would never venture out unless Mum was right there next to them. Now it seems that, like I said, there's these 2 and there's Ribbon's 2, the little black ones. But Plonky, the matriarch Corky's son, has not been seen for a while, and Pretty's cubs have not been seen for a while. So hopefully they'll make an appearance for this Safari Lives. But I did have a very, very entertaining week with them last week, and they showed me exactly how much fun they have. The Juma clan cubs are growing tremendously, and not to mention are utterly adorable. The cubs of all ages at the den are already very curious, playful, strong, and of course, brave. These are qualities that hold them in good stead as they grow into mighty adult hyenas. But that's still a while away. For now, venturing out of the safety of the den can be scary. But these little ones are fearless in their quest to explore the big wide world. However, boredom often hits growing cubs quickly, and like all little ones, a nap seems just around the corner. They truly are exploring the world around them. All the little things they need to make sure that their teeth are working correctly, their noses are working correctly, their ears and eyes are all absorbing the sounds around them. Very, very curious. Not yet as curious as their older clan mates at the moment. They often come really, really close to the vehicle, but these two are still a little bit cautious. Just a little bit. But sometimes I feel like they, like this little one right here, is sniffing around, but he's giving me a look every now and then, as if to say, I see you, and your tires look very tasty, and I think I want to come closer, but I'm not 100% sure. Really, really cute. They are just gorgeous. Lorena, you want to squish its face? I would squish it with you. I definitely would. They are the cutest. I know leopard cubs are adorable. I know lion cubs are adorable. But hyena cubs are... Oh, they've just stolen my heart. They really, really have. It's the character of them. It's not just the way they look. It's their character. They have so much sort of just this exciting... curious minds that move about. So cute. Very, very cute. Well, I'm going to look around and see if there are adults around. Now, these two were out before I got you, so it's not too much of a risk. But let me check if the adults are around. And while I do that, let me send you over to Rusty with that beautiful spotted cat.
We're still right behind her. She's gone off the road. We're following her slowly, but from here, she's just a few meters ahead of us, but it's very difficult with this long grass. She blends in so well. Now, I had believed that we just passed a game drive that said that they saw her yesterday with her cubs. I believe it may be 2 cubs. I understand why she is so skinny, because having young ones like that, they suck the life out of her. I'm not sure if they've been weaned yet, or how old they are. But that explains everything, why she's hunting now, why she's on the move. She's got a family to look after. So yes, there's very unusual hours of moving with this heat. It can be very tricky for her. So I don't know how long I can stay with her without interrupting, because I need her to have a successful hunt for obvious reasons. But there has been, we'll see how it goes. Deborah, yes, yay. That was my reaction tenfold. I hit the gas on the pedal a little bit too hard and nearly stalled the engine. But yes, it's always amazing to get to stay with these cats. I'm slowly but surely getting through all the individuals. Okay, we're going to stay with her for a bit longer, and I will send you back to Lauren, talking about her hyenas.
Well done, Rusty, for finding a leopard. I am incredibly impressed. I know that feeling when you find a leopard, when you don't expect it. Just happened to me the other day. I'm getting used to sitting on the throne and being a matriarch. I think this could be the natural progression of my career, actually. Matriarch has a nice ring to it. Anyway, we've got so much to get through. Let's continue on. Now, we keep talking about how amazing Waffles is. She's incredible. She's a great matriarch. And indeed, she is. She made the takeover of her own long ago. However, it's her stance as matriarch and what she has done for the clan since then that is even more amazing. Let's take a look at this fantastic clip that I will narrate as we go, just to explain what is happening. This is indeed Soup bringing in some delicious looking non-vegan food for her own offspring, Chow. So Soup and Chow are indeed happily munching away on whatever it is they have with them. I really couldn't possibly say at this stage. Now remember, Chow is Soup's offspring. There's lots of other hyenas around looking, desperately trying to steal the food, but they know they're not as dominant or not as high up the hierarchy as Soup or Chow. Now, in comes our girl, our not-so-bonny lass, Waffles. There she is. Now watch her carefully. Not all is what it seems. So indeed, not all is what it seems here, because it may look like Waffles was trying to get some food. She wasn't. She's a busybody. She's nosy. She was coming in to see what they're doing, what they're eating, what is going on. She did not want to take that food. No, she actually stood there guarding and protecting both Soup and Chow to make sure no other hyena came and got that food. She did not steal that food, and she could have if she wanted to. Even later on, when the feeding frenzy died down, Waffles did not take that food. She came in to find out what was happening, and then indeed she stood by them, making sure that they got whatever it was they were eating, and she didn't steal. This is one of the reasons why Waffles was an excellent matriarch. She put others first before her. Now, the question is on a lot of people's minds, I'm sure. What is going to happen to Grenadine and Ilovo, Waffles' current cubs at the minute, who are just too young to really know what is going on, but it has been confirmed that they are indeed female. Yes, Waffles' lineage is going to continue. It wasn't sure whether they were going to be full or not. I believe Julie was actually wondering this question, so here I am answering it. So we weren't sure if they were going to be female. As you know, hyena sex is a very difficult thing to do, to sex them, because females indeed have an appendage that looks almost exactly like the males. So it has been confirmed beautiful Ilovo, who's slightly more silver, and Grenadine, who has a very distinctive notch in her ear, are both females. So what's going to happen to them? Because Waffles was the matriarch, and as I've already explained, matriarch status, your social rank, comes from your mother. Now, let's go back to the timeline. I mentioned that Ilovo and Grenadine were indeed born in July 2018. This was just before the handover from Waffles to Soup. So when hyena cubs are very young, like the one Trishala's just had, they are just still learning, they're playing, they're trying out their dominance, they're biting, they're going rounds and rounds and round the den to the point where you're almost dizzy watching them. But as they've got older, both Grenna and Ilovo have witnessed their mother being submissive to Soup. So Waffles is now submissive to Soup, and therefore they are also being submissive to Soup and Lobby and Chow. So don't get me wrong, Waffles and her two females, the three of them, are still very high up in the hierarchy. So the hierarchy now goes something like this. Soup at the top as matriarch, then underneath it would be Lobby and Chow, then underneath them is Waffles. She sits fourth, and then her offspring sit just under that. They're still high ranking. Waffles is not the matriarch anymore, but she's still respected. I'm sure many people still think she's queen. I do. And indeed, she's still part of the dominant female gang. So the question remains, what's going to happen to Grenadine and Ilovo? That is a good question, and not one that we can exactly answer right now. They are still dominant. They are still going to have a great life. They're going to have great access to resources. They're going to be top of the feeding chain. But will they eventually want to take over? One of them individually, maybe. Will they have that desire to take over the power and maybe compete for some power struggle? Who knows? These questions remain to be seen. So for now, we're going to send you over to Pat with his beautiful Ellies.
Well, I've moved on from the roadblock, but sometimes Mother Nature just gives you signs, and sometimes this is guidance in life, and sometimes it's just trying to tell you something. And today it's trying to tell me, or she is trying to tell me, to watch elephants play, because every time I move on from somewhere, I get blocked by another big herd of elephants who are all playing around. So this is a bit older ones playing, but before there was some younger ones. One fell on the ground and the other one was just harassing it. So this has been awesome to stop and watch. They're all getting into it at the moment. There's so many little battles, little duels going on, some of them playing about. So I compared that other instance we had to a gym, but this is like a really packed out gym at the moment. Everyone's in training at the moment. Very nice stuff, very nice indeed. Oh, we got one strutting through there, saying I'm the boss. Oh, and then a little guy. They're all just looking so energetic right now and so playful. All of the elephants are moving about. There's just little jewels everywhere we're looking. And this one just wants to be loved. It's nice to see all of the range of elephants we have here, from very quite large to very quite small. Now, apart from elephants this last week, we've also seen some other animals with some smaller versions of themselves. David was lucky enough to catch up with the Sausage Tree Pride and their cubs.
When the long rains come, the red oak grass grows to a height of up to 2 metres. This has made it difficult to find the Sausage Tree Pride. After searching for them for days, we came across the pride on a buffalo kill, and it was mealtime full of joy. The wind was strong, and it seemed to be carrying a warning as the adult lionesses and the El Doño Payak male seemed curious, perhaps smelling hyenas approaching. Their youngest cubs have already begun to try meat, although they won't wean for months yet. In the far distance, we followed the wind to find Kinky Tail and her new cubs in the company of Meaty, the tree-climbing lioness. Even though it was a brief encounter, it was still a treat to catch a glimpse of the cute cubs before they wandered off in the long grass.
So this little one here, that entire time I was speaking just then, has just been standing in this ditch, hasn't really been moving at all. And then another younger one has now come over, to, I think, to check in on it, because it just looks a little bit confused with why it's so down low. These two have been having a bit more of a heavier spar than the rest of them at the moment. These two, out of all of them, have been getting into it. Oh, actually, no, I lied. Look at this little feisty one here. Look at him. Now, I can't take credit for this joke. This was actually Manu who called this earlier when he saw a smaller one hitting a bigger one, but he said that one is truly punching above its weight. And it definitely is, but seeming to win as well. So I don't know what's gotten into all of these elephants at the moment. It is bit Flight Clubbish, isn't it? The first rule of Elephant Flight Club is you do not talk about Elephant Flight Club. Ah, well, I'm getting my fill very much so today. And, well, Tristan is with someone whose first name I wish I could be doing out here, old Scuba Steve.
Indeed we are. We're with the celebrity couple that really has attracted the attention of many and, well, stolen the hearts of all with their endless entertainment and activity. And that's about the most I've ever seen of Scuba Steve as he stands up a little bit before plonking his bottom down. Sebastian, you just recorded more that has gone on with Scuba Steve's life than most have seen in many, many a year. And, well, they've disappeared again. They really are highly entertaining and certainly tell... It is a groundbreaking moment, Emma. I hope you got your popcorn out and have strapped yourself in for this wild ride. That is Scuba Steve and his girlfriend Snorkel Sarah as they bob up and down once again. Anyway, as I was saying, this is a revelation. It hasn't been like this all the time in the last week. Scuba Steve and Snorkel Sarah, well, they had a bit of a disagreement by the looks of things during the course of the week.
The most exciting couple of the season enjoyed the company of the resident Egyptian geese at the beginning of this week. While the water levels appear to be lowering, it seems that this has had little effect on the occupancy of Buffelshoek Dam. Although all was calm on the surface, once their double date had come to its close, Scuba Steve and Snorkel Sarah retreated below with some severity. Later on in the week, it seemed that sulking was the order of the day, as neither were quite ready to face each other, and we were left wondering if Steve would forever remain a bachelor. However, by the end of the week, reconciliation was well underway.
Well, as you can see, there was a bit of a sensitive matter that was obviously discussed between the two of them, and they were ignoring one another during the course of the week before deciding to actually listen to each other again, and all seems well. Now, you might be wondering why I'm racing off from Scuba Steve and Snorkel Sarah's, because I just thought I heard... Oh, come on, Rusty. There we go. What sounded like a Nyala alarm calling, and there was a hyena that was at Buffelshoek Dam that we were going to show you when you came back from that clip, but that hyena just got up and went trotting off in the direction that we thought we heard the alarm calls. So we're just going to try and get round and see if we can hear it again. It sounded like it was coming from not too far away. Right, so I'm going to try and get there and try and see if I can find them. In the meantime, though, let's send you across to Lauren, and she's going to continue her discussion on hyenas.
Oh, we are so sorry about that. In fact, my comms are even a bit soft today, so please blame the gremlins and not us. And luckily, these puppets are still here. Let me just get into a nice position for you. It's always really pretty because the sun sets behind the hyena den. This is a very well positioned den. It's the resort. It really is their resort. Got the pool out the front. They've got two entrances. It's like a double-story house. A lovely garden. And, of course, catching the sun behind it as it sets. Lovely. Hello, babies. So cute and so brave. They really are. Now, these two, like I said, are June's cubs, and they were born around January of this year. So they're about 3 months old, and you can see their spots starting to come in. in general, spots do come in around 3 months old, but I think these guys actually, their spots came in a little bit earlier. I'd probably say at about 2. Now, if you remember Plonk, Corky's son, his spots seem to come in really late, almost about over 3 months, I reckon. So it just goes to show you can read a whole lot of things, but the experience and having watched them counts for a lot more. Oh. Oh. Is that some sibling love there? Well, it seems that Lauren seems to be up and running, so let's try again. I'm going to sit with these guys just a little longer. So sorry. I think that the gremlins just want you guys to see this cuteness overload. That's what I think it's happening. But we do apologize for that, but nonetheless we do have these two. And I think that they are utterly adorable. Look at that. Snoozing together. It's quite contrasting to what I normally see them do, which is bite each other's ears, bite the scruffs of each other's necks, try to climb over each other. They're a lot more soft and loving towards each other today. Oh. Oh! You're investigating that little hollow that your mum has probably dug out there. JP, you'd like to know what the inside of a hyena den is like? I personally have no idea because I'm not sticking my head in there. For one, I think it must smell quite special. But from what I understand, there are a few chambers on the inside and shelves, just in case there's flooding. And the entrances are quite narrow so that big predators can't really get in, lion and things like that. So it's really a safe haven for these cubs. Really, really is. But I think it would be quite interesting. In fact, I wonder if there's some sort of GoPro footage of what a hyena den looks like on the inside. I think it'd be quite interesting. Oh, look at this. You're just sniffing about. Oh, look at the crinkles on the forehead. Very cute. It gives them this look of constant confusion. Constant curiosity. What's that? Very sweet. Ooh, Tristan has a curious leopard in the tree. What a lucky and great show it has been. So let's go over to him.
Indeed we do. So we managed to follow those Nyala barks and we drove straight in and we managed to spot this little female sitting up high in a marula tree, trying not to die of heat. You can see how fast she's panting and she's kind of looking around. She's actually watching towards those Nyala that gave her away. And I don't think she was up in the tree when the Nyala spotted her. I think she climbed the tree and they then saw her. But it's little Kalamba, for those of you that are wondering. And it's nice to catch up with her. I mean, we saw her the other night. She was on a serious mission right down in the south of the reserve. And she's now since travelled all the way to the north and is now kind of sitting high up in a tree. And there's absolutely no way that you would have found this leopard without the bark of those nyalas. She is deep into a block, and it just goes to show that the hippos, like I say, the most exciting hippo couple in the world. Well, if it wasn't for stopping at them, we never would have heard those nyala barks, and we wouldn't have come and followed up, and we would never have found her. So we can thank Scuba Steve and Snorkel Sarah for this one today. But you can see it's going to be a beautiful kind of sunset with her up in the tree just now. She really is going to kind of be absolutely perfect when that sun gets a little bit lower. There's going to be this beautiful coloration with her kind of high up in the boughs. And you can see why she's positioned herself in amongst those trees. It's just to really try and cool down. What you can also see is how much she is panting. Gives you an idea of just how hot it is today. It really is warm, and she must be cooking with that fur coat at this stage. And so I'm pretty sure she's gone up into the tree just to get out of the grass and get some air and some shade, and then also to get away from the serious amount of flies that we've got today. The flies are at their worst than I've had them for a few days, so they've been really terrible today. So I'm sure she's going up there to get away from these guys. Now you see it is still definitely summer. It is very warm today. I would say, what is the temperature today, Seb? Do you know? 38, I believe. 38 degrees Celsius was apparently what Seb read, which is warm by any stretch of the imagination. It's not a cool period, that's for sure. 38, and now that's in the shade, so you can imagine for Seb and I sitting in the sun, little Tlalumba's got herself a perfect little spot, but we're sitting in the sun at this stage, and you know, it's a bit warmer when you're in kind of direct sunlight. Now, when we first heard those nyalas calling, given our proximity to Buffelshoek Dam, we thought maybe, just maybe, it might be Tingi that was moving around, but it's alas is Tlalamba, and you never know, maybe Tingana will arrive with the alarm calls too, and we caught up with him not too far from here earlier in the week.
One could easily assume that the Duke of Djuma was enjoying a leisurely retirement as he lounged about this week. The lush vegetation appears to be providing the perfect sleeping spots, leaving Tingana longing for very little besides a possible pedicure. With his thuggish foe Hukamuri crisscrossing the boundary of Djuma, the Duke pulled himself out from his slumber to hydrate and contemplate his next move.
I will say one thing, as much as Tingana took it easy and it hasn't really kind of been moving around as much as he did in the past, and certainly hasn't been as vocal as he's been in the past, he still looks really good. I mean, I was surprised at how good he's been looking. He's kind of got good muscle mass at the moment and seems really healthy and is seemingly be able to find a decent amount of food. And so, you know, I'm hoping that we're going to see a lot more of Tingi in the long run, and that he's going to be around for still a while to come. He's one of the firm favorites of many people, and he's, you know, held a kind of territorial role in this area for so long now. It's going to be a very different place when he eventually does leave, so hopefully that will not be any time soon, and we're going to see a lot more of him. I'm going to be intrigued to see how this affects Thandi, and whether or not her kind of mating, when she does, or if she has been mating, if she's going to mate with him, or if she's going to move her territory slightly, and how he's going to respond to Tlalamba as she gets a little bit older. It's going to be certainly a very interesting kind of period that we're going to go through now. And hopefully for Tlalamba's sake, we have him for another year at least, which will get Tlalamba to, 2.5, which means that she'll be then sort of out of the danger zone from a marauding male that might move through here. And she's so pretty that we wouldn't want anything to happen to her at all. Right, while we sit with our hot leopard and we sympathize just how hot it is while we sit in the sun, let's send you up to a much cooler Mara and Lauren in the studio.
Unfortunately, that's not the case. We are also very hot right now. I refuse to put the AC on. However, look at this fabulous picture of Waffles, which I'm sure you saw already. I think the gremlins are out to get me because I'm a hyena today. Doesn't it look like she's laughing? And she's probably not. She's probably doing something disgusting, like regurgitating, but you never know. She could be laughing. So this goes back to my original question. Has the matriarch been dethroned? And who is laughing now? She's not being dethroned. She handed it over. There's the answer to part 1. I don't think she's been dethroned at all. And 2, who's laughing now? Waffles is. She's had a great, successful reign at being the awesome matriarch she has been. She's produced a strong lineage of females, Soup, Lobby, Chow, and even Grenadine and Ilovo. Her lineage is going to live on. The bloodline continues. So, Waffles is the one who's laughing. And I get asked all the time, how can I do this gracefully? Whew. Hope that was graceful enough. I get asked all the time, what is her retirement plan? One of the favourite questions. Let's just take a look at a really recent sighting of Waffles herself at the den and how she interacts and how she's behaving. She's with all the cubs. And don't you think she's looking a bit old? Look at the scars on her face. She is looking a bit tattered and a bit old, but look how comfortable she is. She's still in the... Oh, sorry, I don't know where that clip went. But the point was, she's still there. She's still feeding. She's still bringing food to the den, and she's still very much high up on the hierarchy. So as for her retirement plan, probably gardening, maybe putting her feet up, catching up on the gossip of the Mara, letting Soup do all the hard work. But there you go. I think I've managed to come the full circle and really unravel the crazy mystery that was the North Clan and Waffles lineage. So, talking of the North Clan, of course, I go to visit there as much as I can. And we had a lovely sighting with Honeybuns and Ding Dong recently as they've discovered elephants for the first time. Let's take a look. Not understanding the joy and benefits of the morning sun, Buns demanded playtime, biting his sibling's ear and back. As he continued to nourish himself with some vitamin D, Buns decided to play with his mother instead, who was clearly trying to rest. At only a few weeks old, the little cubs have been exploring life outside the den, and the sight of a herd of elephants was utterly fascinating for Buns. He sat and watched in awe, and at this particular moment, neither feeding nor playing was a priority. Once he was satisfied with the sight of the moving mountains, it was time for breakfast. Adorable. The 2 cubs who appeared to see the elephant, well, at least one of them did, the elephants go past for the first time. I could just feel the amazement in that tiny little cub's face. Wow, what are these huge mountains that are just walking past us right now? As we know, hyenas are incredibly intelligent, incredibly curious, and that must have just been the most epic morning for that little cub. So as you know, the den is absolutely filled with cubs right now. There's a lot happening, and it's very busy. I did get a question from Lauren, another excellent name, but Emma is going to have to repeat it because I was away on a different tangent there. So let's wait until Emma repeats this question in my ear and I'll go for it. I have no idea, Lauren. Something about Waffles cubs. I'm really not getting this question. Must be a tricky question. But indeed, just not getting it. I'm sorry about that. There's nothing I can do. So indeed, it is a busy... Oh, I got it. Are they going to struggle not being on top? I think I have kind of answered that question. They are still at the top. They don't know any different. So, Lauren, once they were very, very young and once they started to really realize at that specific age where it comes, where they learn their social rank, was when Waffles started to act very submissively to Soup. That's all they know. They only know that they must act submissively to Soup, Lobby and Chow. But they're still high up. Soup will still utilize their presence as strong females as part of her girl army. With their backup, let's just go back to the 6 important hyenas here. So with Ilovo and Grenadine's backup, Lauren, indeed, Soup has her army. She's not just going to concentrate on Lobby and Chow. That's not enough. Could she do that with just Lobby and Chow? Possibly not. She has Waffles, she has Ilovo, and she has Grenadine. That's a strong girl army. That's a lot of girl power, Spice Girls style, right there. And that is how soup will continue to thrive. And indeed, that is how Ilovo and Grenadine will fit into the picture. So talking of matriarchs, let's go back across to Pat, who's still with the elephants.
I don't think I have stopped laughing and smiling in joy this entire time. So just about every elephant under the age of 5 right now has been playing, and for some reason have all congregated in this little ditch here. So about 5 minutes ago, there was about 6 of them all involved in the same fight, but all congregated in that tiny little ditch. So it was just elephants on elephants. They were falling over, they were falling on top of one another. This has been a truly special afternoon. And there's still more going on. So they have just not run out of energy, these elephants. Just when you think that it's all settled down, one will start a fight, and then that will catch onto another 2, and then another 2 will get involved, and they're off again. So all of the parents obviously just letting it run, letting them have their fun. This is absolutely beautiful stuff. So many elephants here with boundless energy. Miss Autumn, it is so sweet, isn't it? Oh, the stick's back. Yes, so we had 2 before fighting over a stick. And I don't even know what these 2 are trying right now. This is like a slow dance than anything. It's like being in the clinch in Muay Thai. Mrs. Lapwing, you are correct. A sea of elephants. An absolute sea of them. They are all over the place right now. And just everywhere you look, there's just something new happening. So I really... We've got another man down. Oh, bless them. Bless them all. I don't even have words right now. I'm a very, very, very lucky guy to be witnessing this so close to me right now. It's just battle after battle, elephants everywhere. All of the young'uns are getting into it, and they're just having so much fun. All I want to do right now is turn into a young elephant and just get in there and join in with them all. Pure joy, ooh. Did we hear that? One of them just made a bit of a loud noise. Maybe finally telling the kids to settle down. Well, these elephants are very, very, very active right now, but it seems like it is the complete opposite story down at the hyena den.
Oh, elephants can be so entertaining, and you can have so many laughs with them. Absolutely beautiful. Well done, Patrick. Now, I have more of a serene kind of picture here, and we have these lovely tufts of grass that are dancing in the slight breeze that we're getting now that the day is starting to cool down, and of course the sun is starting to set. And my 2 lazy cubs, I think they need to get a bit more energy now, because everybody else will be back home soon, and maybe they'll get a meal, which would be lovely, wouldn't it? They're very lazy, sleepy little hyenas. Still absolute cuteness, though. Look at the wholeness of those ears and the way that... Oh, what have you smelt? What have you smelt? What have you smelt? What have you smelled? Linda, you say that this picture, or all the grass and the picture of it is going to make you sneeze. How are these hyenas coping? Well, probably because they're not as sensitive as we are to the entire environment around us. We seem to be a little bit babied. If you had to throw us into the wild, I think it would be a lot tougher than these guys. So they are doing just fine. I haven't seen a hyena sneeze yet, but I'm quite sure they do. And I'd love to see it. Oh, look at that paw! Cuteness. Absolute cuteness. Hey. Alright. Now, these guys look very lazy and they look like they are going to fall asleep at any moment and go back into that den. So let me send you over to Tristan with a very hot Tlalamba.
Indeed. Well, I don't know about cute, but she is absolutely beautiful. She really is starting to come into her own. She's a magnificent cat, and I think she's going to be a very pretty girl as she grows older. She's got incredible eyes that have lightened up a little bit, and I think she's going to be a very special cat, and hopefully she's going to be, you know, the next queen in this area in terms of spending a lot of time and being able to be a young cat that we watch from kind of birth and can document her life all the way through to an old age like her mother or her grandmother. It would be certainly a very cool story to have all that footage from pretty much when she was only a few weeks old to kind of up until this period now, or until she gets very, very old. So it's so nice that she's hung around quite a bit and that we've been seeing so many sightings of her. It's really, really special that we've gotten to spend as much time as we have of late. And it's hopefully going to be an indication that Tandi's going to leave her in these kind of areas. Are you going to come down for us, girl? Are you tired of being up in the tree? Or are you just going to reposition? Okay. Seb, I tell you what, let's just try to get round because it's such a nice view without that light kind of behind her. So, Emma, if you can give us 2 seconds just to get round, shouldn't take us long to get it onto the other side of the tree, although it is one of the thickest blocks that you can ever imagine inside here. So I'm glad that she wasn't too far. So Emma says she'll wait for us to get round. Thank you, Emma. It'll be well worth it. Now, when we first got here, there was alarm calls of the Nyala, which is how we actually found her. And so I wondered at first if maybe she hadn't grabbed a little baby Nyala and put it up in the tree somewhere. But it doesn't seem like that's the case. I think she was just readjusting on the tree and maybe moving for the shade. And that's how the Nyala spotted her. They saw her kind of moving herself and they kind of picked her up. Or she went up the tree when they were around. But the light should be absolutely perfect on her when we get around here, because she's moved into such a nice spot on the tree. Hold on, Seb, we should get a really nice view of her from here somewhere. Oh, the light is not quite ideal. There's a little bit catching her face, but it's not exactly how I wanted it. I was hoping we were going to get a beautiful kind of sunlight just going through and just highlighting her, but you can see she's in a monstrous marula. She's kind of dwarfed by this tree in many ways, and there's the telltale kind of leopard pose of legs dangling and tail dangling, and of course there would be a leaf right in front of her face, wouldn't there, Seb? Yes. But anyway, right, well, we certainly have enjoyed our time with Tlalamba, but we're going to sit with her a little bit longer, see if maybe she comes down. And in the meantime, though, back up to Lauren in the Mara.
What an afternoon it's been. I'm absolutely exhausted. I hope you don't mind that I'm just lying on the couch. It has been an incredible week. And talking of this week, I had the most incredible sighting, also involving spots, but not hyenas. Let's go back and see what happened. While keeping a lookout for the owner of this hoisted Thompson's gazelle, we were ecstatic when our patience paid off, and in double. As not one but 2 leopards wearily wandered along the banks of the river. A rather rare sighting, as leopards in the Mara are infamously known for their shyness and skittish nature, unlike the bravado of their spotted cousins to the south. As if that wasn't enough of a sighting, the mother and son duo proceeded to cross the river and headed straight towards their raised pantry. Perfectly poised, the mother, Siri, moved up the tree, negotiating its significant height and jaunty angle with ease. While her son remained secluded in the greenery below, a few bites lightened the load before Siri descended. Gazelle in tow, with gymnast-like precision, and the seasoned knowledge that not all cats land on their feet. That probably has to be my most favourite sighting yet. I still pinch myself to see if that was true. As many of you know, I am obsessed with spots, cheetahs, leopards and spotted hyenas, and if I say I'm going to go and find them, I eventually will. So I really hope you all enjoyed diving deeper into the North Clan. It's been phenomenal finding out all about Waffles, how she got from bottom to top and how she's managed to sustain it, stay the matriarch and then hand it over to someone no other than her granddaughter. I'm going to continue to follow the clan and I hope you do too. So once again, thank you for all your comments and questions, and I really hope you enjoyed this action-packed episode of Safari Lives.